evening and welcome to Hungary Report, starting off public media and once foreign language news hour. I'm Csenga Gabriela Ibolya with today's news from Hungary and the Carpathian Basin. Let's begin. Prime Minister Viktor Orbán met with President of the United States Donald Trump in the White House in Washington. As the Prime Minister put it after their meeting, they think very similarly with the President regarding many issues, such as standing up against illegal migration and the need to defend Christian culture.
Donald Trump and Viktor Orbán had a 15-minute meeting in the Oval Office on Monday. After their talks, the press was allowed to join, which is when the U.S. president talked about how the relationship between the United States and Hungary is excellent and how Viktor Orbán has done a great job.
Viktor Orbán has done a tremendous job in so many different ways, highly respected all over Europe. Probably, like me, a little bit controversial, but that's okay. That's okay. You've done a good job, and you've kept your country safe.
The Hungarian PM said that Hungary is proud that Washington and Budapest are taking a joint stance on important issues.
I have some expectations for this meeting this afternoon. First of all, to strengthen our strategic alliance, then to discuss global political issues because so many changes are going on and we have some similar approaches. And I would like to express that we are proud to stand together with the United States on fighting against illegal migration, on terrorism, and to protect and help the Christian communities all around the world.
Afterwards, journalists mostly raised questions to Donald Trump about domestic issues. The American president was also asked about the rule of law in Hungary. Donald Trump said that Viktor Orbán is a tough but respected man in Hungary, and he's done the right thing, according to many people, on immigration. He then passed the question to the Hungarian PM.
From the people, by the people, for the people. This is the basis for the Hungarian government. So it's a government which is elected by the Hungarian people several times, so we are happy to serve our nation.
Afterwards, the president and Viktor Orbán began talks together with the Hungarian delegation and representatives of the U.S. cabinet.
Yes, please.
There have been many important diplomatic events this year which were attended by Viktor Orbán. According to the MTI news agency, in the first days of January, the Hungarian Prime Minister took part in the inauguration ceremony of the President of Brazil. In the beginning of February, together with the heads of the V4s, they had a meeting with German Chancellor Angela Merkel in Bratislava, while during the same month he was greeted by his Israeli counterpart in Jerusalem. Then in April, Viktor Orbán took part in a summit in Croatia between China and Central and Eastern European countries. 2 weeks later, he then traveled to Beijing and met with the Chinese Prime Minister as well as the President of China, Xi Jinping. Hungary is not happy but accepts Britain's decision about leaving the European Union, said the State Secretary Tamás Menczer at a Brexit forum in Budapest. He emphasized one of the cornerstones of Hungarian foreign policy is to respect other countries' home affairs and the decision of its citizens. He added the current work of the European Commission can also be judged by Britain's decision to leave.
The Brits are preparing to leave the European Union while migrants are inside. This is the Juncker Committee's balance. I wouldn't like to bring any other aspect here, but one thing is sure. The United Kingdom leaving the EU cannot be listed on the pro side of the pros and cons list for the current Brussels Commission.
The persecution of Christians in the 21st century is one of the world's least talked about human rights issues, said the State Secretary responsible for the helping of persecuted Christians in regards to the recent attacks against Christian people. Tristan Özbey emphasized, Hungary is a Christian country. This is why the government is defending its culture, families and borders and stands up for persecuted Christian communities with its Hungary Helps program.
We condemn the inhumane double standard that the big, self-declared, temperate opinion leaders of the West suppressed the fact that out of the registered cases last year, more than 4,150 Christians died innocently for their faith. And they also fall silent about the atrocities committed against the Nigerian Christians by the Fulani, Boko Haram and other jihadist terrorists. The Hungarian government's stance is clear. reality is more important than being politically correct. We dare to say that Christians are being persecuted to a degree never seen before.
It cannot happen that the expectant mother's allowance support doesn't start on the 1st of July due to criticisms from Brussels, said State Secretary Katalin Novák. She made it clear that the government hasn't yet received the preliminary support needed from Brussels. With the expectant mother's allowance, young families can receive 10 million forints or some 30,000 euros, which can be spent freely. It depends on the number of children the family will have on how much of the loan needs to be paid back.
Our objective was to receive the European Commission's support beforehand, State Secretary Novák said. The Hungarian government asked for Brussels support to be able to launch the prenatal subsidy on July 1st, according to plans. According to the press, consultations between them have been ongoing since February. They've had 3 meetings where the European Commission phrased several objections to the prenatal preferential loan aimed to help families. One of the objections, for example, was that the 30,000 euros of state support should be decreased because they find that the fully state-backed guarantee is problematic, it should stop at 80%, and they also raised a concern that banks participating in the scheme could have an unfair advantage. Furthermore, the Commission also proposed that the support be handled by a state institution instead of banks. At the discussions, they recommended steps that could make the scheme impossible to carry out and would bring disadvantageous conditions to Hungarian people. The State Secretary for Family and Youth Affairs stated that the prenatal subsidy is sure to kick off on July 1st. By July 1st, 2019, the 4 announced points of the Family Protection Action Plan will be launched. The prenatal subsidy will be accessible from July 1st, 2019. It will absolutely be launched. That is non-negotiable for us. It will kick off, she said. Experts have pointed out that the EU's current concerns raise questions in light of their former acceptance of the Family Home Creation Program, or CSOC. There weren't any objections to that family support scheme. The government parties have had objections to the leadership of the European Union seeing the future of the continent in immigration. Fidesz has criticized that they spend millions on the immigrant debit card program and at the same time want to restrict the prenatal subsidy for Hungarian families.
Those visiting Pécs can get acquainted with Japanese calligraphy. In the belvárosi közösségi tér, an interactive exhibition of the works of Ferenc Zobcsák has been put on, which introduces people to the mysterious world of the Japanese kanji. The artist has been doing Japanese calligraphy for 12 years now, and the main theme of his current show is winter, which is the reason why the exhibition is titled Winter in Spring. The Tavaszi Tállató Spring Showcase will once again be organized in Veszprém this year. The best and newest works of the region's contemporary artists are being showcased at the exhibit. The show, which can be seen until the end of June, will be available to audiences in 3 exhibition rooms of Veszprém's Castle District, which are the Dumnicai Palace, the Csikász Gallery and the Granary. And that's all for now, but don't forget you can catch Hungary Reports every night after 11 p.m. news and online as always. Do stick around and watch our German, Russian and Chinese language news. Thank you for watching and have a lovely evening.